Hello, welcome to News Centre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Prime Minister Modi addressed the virtual SCO summit along with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Putin. This was Putin's first summit after the Wagner mutiny. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was also in attendance. Prime Minister Modi sent out strong messages to Pakistan and China. He said countries need to curb terrorism and protect territorial integrity of all SCO members. Meanwhile, Russian President Putin slammed Western nations, saying his country will stand up against Western sanctions and provocations. Putin added Moscow will support the transition to settlements in local currencies for foreign trade with SCO members. Chinese President Xi Jinping batted against protectionist policies and unilateral sanctions. He called for efforts to safeguard regional peace and ensure common security. Let's listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
कुछ देश क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म को अपनी नीतियों के इंस्ट्रूमेंट के रूप में इस्तेमाल करते हैं, आतंकवादियों को पनाह देते हैं। एससीओ को ऐसे देशों की आलोचना में कोई संकोच नहीं करना चाहिए। ऐसे गंभीर विषय पर दोहरे मापदंड के लिए कोई स्थान नहीं होना चाहिए।
All right, let's take this forward with Victor Gao, Chair Professor at Soochow University, also Vice President at Center for China and Globalization, and Brahma Chellaney, a well-known strategic affairs expert from India. Mr. Chellaney, how would you sum up Prime Minister Modi's remarks? Clearly, he laid a lot of emphasis on terrorism, on safe havens, how SCO should come together to condemn terrorism in all its forms. Clearly, the direction was towards China and Pakistan. How would you really sum up the Prime Minister's messaging?
I think each leader who spoke plugged his national line. Putin emphasized how Russia has managed to survive the Western sanctions onslaught. Xi Jinping is concerned that if and when China moves on Taiwan, the West will come down with a ton of sanctions bricks on China. So he opposed unilateral sanctions. And Prime Minister Modi emphasized the cross-border terrorism problem that India faces. The fact is that India is the only established democracy in the SCO, which increasingly has come under China's sway. India's membership lends respectability to the SCO, which would otherwise be seen as an anti-Western club of autocracies. Now that Iran has been included, SCO comprises America's main rivals, China, Russia, and Iran. These are America's main adversaries, and they are in the SCO. But it's India's membership that helps blunt the tagging of the SCO as an anti-Western grouping. But the big question that is really raised is, does the SCO hold strategic value for India as opposed to symbolic value? That question needs to be debated.
That's right. And clearly, China and Russia would want it to be a strong grouping against the Western alliance as well. Let me now go across to Victor Gao. Victor Gao, we have been seeing statements coming in from China and Chinese commentators, how the world is calling for a closer SCO community. Also, they want the SCO to rise against hegemonism, rise up against countries which are imposing sanctions. Give us a sense of Xi Jinping's priorities at the SCO and how do they want to use the SCO in the years to come?
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, congratulations on this virtual summit by the SCO, and we hope the discussions by the state leaders at the SCO will really result in very positive results. Secondly, allow me to emphasize, SCO is gaining in popularity. More countries are applying to join SCO. SCO will eventually also gain in its responsibility as well as functionalities. Now, the fact that countries like both India and Pakistan are members of SCO does speak to the fact that SCO has the flexibility to make these countries, which have sometimes seemingly irreconcilable differences, together under the one roof. And you talked about the fight against hegemony. It's not only that SCO, which may want to fight against hegemony. I would say every country in the world wants to fight against hegemony. Why? Because which country really wants to live under the subjugation to any other country if they do not play by the rule of the game, if they do not respect other countries? Now, you talked about the fight against terrorism. I completely agree. As a matter of fact, the origin of the SCO was because of the desire to engage in collective fight against terrorism. 20 years ago, it's stepping out of Afghanistan because of the war in Afghanistan. And I would hope SCO will come up with a scheme so that member states of the SCO will really cooperate with each other in their collective fight against terrorism, not only as originally envisioned out of Afghanistan, but anywhere in the world, especially affecting the SCO members. Therefore, I truly believe SCO will engage in more popularity, and the SCO is the future that the world will increasingly see, and I hope SCO will play a more constructive role going forward in stabilizing relations and having the courage to say no to unilateralism, unilateral sanctions, for example, disruption of supply chain, as well as the opposition against globalization and market trade and fair practices in the world.
Okay, Mr. Chellaney, coming back to you, give us a sense of how Prime Minister Modi will be balancing relations. Very strong relations with the United States. The Prime Minister has just completed a very successful, much talked about visit to the United States. He's now heading to France in a few days from now. Here he was on the same platform as Putin, Xi Jinping, Iran, and Belarus is also now being invited into the SCO. How would the West be seeing this grouping, and how would India like to leverage this from the point of view on stable supply chains for fertilizers, food, and energy?
That's a good question. Let's be clear on one thing. China uses the SCO to advance its commercial and strategic interests. And for Russia, this partnership with China in the SCO is valuable at a time when the West is waging a proxy war against Russia. That increases the importance of SCO for Russia. But the SCO includes both of India's adversaries, China and Pakistan, which has become China's vassal state. In fact, China brought Pakistan into the SCO as a condition for allowing India to become a member. That's how Pakistan gained membership. Most SCO members are part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, which India has opposed since its launch. For India, to answer your question, the SCO may hold some value, even if limited value, as part of India's multi-alignment strategy, especially balancing India's widely perceived tilt toward the West. So to show that it prizes its strategic independence, India's participation in the SCO meetings may have symbolic benefit. But I think the SCO does not offer India much strategic value other than permitting some degree of hedging. It's always wise, after all, not to put all your eggs in one basket. And therefore, in that sense, being in the SCO camp clearly offers India room for hedging. But apart from that, I still don't see how India gains tangibly from being in the SCO.
So you're saying that gains from membership of the SCO are not very clear as far as India is concerned. Victor Gao, coming back to you, as far as the key deliverables go, how does China expect to act on some pressing issues of our times? Today, the leaders, all the SCO leaders, have agreed upon the New Delhi Declaration. They have agreed upon cooperation in countering radicalism, cooperation and digital transformation as well. How do you see China advancing relations with the likes of Iran and Russia through the SCO grouping?
Thank you. You are raising very important questions. Allow me to re-emphasize, SCO is the future of the world. It is gaining more popularity, and no one is being forced to join SCO. Any country joining SCO has made that decision out of very strategic and profound considerations. And for India, for example, Russia and its former Soviet Union has always been very, very important. And for India to have a platform to engage with Russia in a more meaningful way under the umbrella of SCO is definitely in India's own interest. Therefore, I agree to disagree with the comments made by your distinguished Indian panelist. I do hope all countries within SCO will cooperate to promote multilateralism, globalization, free trade, market practices, and to discourage any tendency to weaponize supply chain, to dominate the world, and to show disrespect of other countries. In the world of today, it is important to respect every country, big or small, as equal. And for China and India, the two countries with 1.4 billion population each, and for Russia, with the largest land mass, for example, and with the largest nuclear arsenals, all these three countries, together with other SCO members, are crucially important countries. And the fact that China, India, and Russia are collectively neighboring countries with each other speaks to the fact that these three countries, being members of the SCO, will contribute to having Eurasian continent as a whole, maintaining stability and peace and development. This is the real crux of the matter for SCO. It is a factor for peace and stability and growth and constructiveness and equality and multilateralism, not only for the SCO members, but for Eurasian continent as a whole.
All right, we've run out of time, but we'd like to thank Brahma Chellaney and Victor Gao for joining us. Very important points from our panelists, but all eyes will be on SCO, definitely. The West will be watching these proceedings very, very closely. This was the first time that President Putin was appearing in a multilateral forum after the mutiny by the Wagner Group. We're going to take a short break, but when we